meeting for the month of May 2023. Um, Brother Norbert, could you open us up with a word of prayer, please?
Yes, yes, my brother. Let's kneel or bow your head for prayer. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Father, we are children coming for you once more to sit to talk about what's happening in our community. But first, Lord, we want to thank you to wake us up and thank you to those who go to work and bring them back home safe and pray for their family. Pray where they are, pray for every corner in their home, whether apartment or joint, pray for each community, pray for our young men and women because they are strong. We pray as Mr. Isaac, the chairman, and also our sister, the chairperson. I pray that they will continue to give them health and strength. I pray for my sister Ursula and also our district manager, Mr. Torres. I pray you will give him more health and strength for him to come back. So bless each and every one of us that is here, that whenever we leave here this evening, that each and every one of us will say, yes, it was good to be here at this meeting. So bless us in Jesus' name. I pray thanksgiving. Amen and amen.
All right, thank you, Norbert. Okay, this evening, we have four street co-namings that were sent to us. That's on the agenda, and we're gonna review those, and we're gonna, make a call on whether we want these. And I actually think I've actually read the bios of these folks, and I actually was very impressed. The first person that we're gonna look at is Miss Annie Mae Calhoun. Is there anyone for Miss Calhoun on the line? Okay. Miss Annie Mae Calhoun. She was born in Greenville, North Carolina, and she was a graduate of North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina, and she moved to New York and furthered her education in nutrition. She attended New York University, where she received a master's degree and worked at Kings County Hospital as a nutritionist for approximately 28 years. During Annie's New York career, she lived on Purcell Avenue in the Bronx for over 60 years. Annie had three children and adopted the rest of the children who lived in the neighborhood. She was the Pied Piper of the neighborhood, and all the children in the neighborhood came to 3334 Pearsall Avenue to play and hang out. Um, Mrs. Calhoun Garage became the neighborhood's community room as all the kids would come and play at her place. Um, she was an active member of the East Chester Presbyterian Church, and at the church, she was a Sunday school teacher for the children. And while working as a member of the Presbyterian Church, she became a member of the Bay Fish Organization. And this organization formed a credit union and discussed and supported the neighborhood and the neighborhood issues to create unity, safety, and financial support. This, I think, was submitted by Mr. Cole Hasty um, to give honor to Miss Annie Mae Calhoun. We're gonna, um, I think we decide
All
whether
right,
we're gonna.
Jack. I'll call you when I get there. You can come outside.
I'm gonna mute this person. So we're gonna vote on whether or not we should allow Miss Calhoun's name to be um, co-named at Pearsall Avenue by where she lived, and that's one of the persons. Um,
Are you going to do these separate or put them all together, John?
I thinking I was gonna put them all together and then we just vote, or you think we should do individual? No.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, well, it's your choice, but I want
Yeah,
to tell you, this woman was
I'm gonna put them all together because we have other people that have questions and comments. So I just want to get these
okay.
out of the way. Um, the next one is Miss Emma Miller. Emma was born in July 1947 to Louise and Charles Harper Sr. and raised in New York City. She was educated in a city public school and pursued her career in healthcare. She worked as a nurse assistant for many years before joining the New York City Housing Authority in 1975. It is clear that helping people was her call. She coached youth in boxing and served as a three-woman referee for the New York City Golden Gloves. Her community involvement spread to St. Nicholas houses to Boston Secor houses, where she spent decades volunteering to help tenants and these developments resolve issues and obtain a better quality of life, and served as a president for the Boston Secor Tenants Association for over 18 years. She received a number of accolades from city and state officials. Emma had five children: Michael, James, Christopher, Harper, blah, blah, blah. And that's what she did. She was the tenant association president for Boston, what it was, for Boston Secor houses. Okay, so and that's Emma Miller. Um, The next person that we're gonna honor is Celia Brown, and she was born at Fort Sill Army Base in Lawton, Oklahoma, to William and Marva Brown on August 11, 1963. A long time Bronx resident, Celia raised in Edenwald projects and moved to Parkchester at age 12. She spent a majority of her adult life with her son Kevin and her husband Kevin Joseph Waller at 3611 Barnes Avenue, Tilden Towers. Right? Celia Brown is a psychiatric survivor who was instrumental in developing the first peer specialist civil service title in the country. Celia was the regional advocate specialist at the NYC field office, New York State Office of Mental Health. She provided technical assistance and supported people with psychiatric disabilities and their families. Celia facilitated training on her peer support, wellness, and recovery approaches in community health agencies. Her miraculous journey from walking in the shoes of a mental health recipient to advocating for her peers is her mark on history. So you can see that she was not just a regular person. She did like extraordinary stuff. And that was Celia Brown. Okay, the next person that we're gonna do and talk about is Mr. Earl Moody, the legendary owner of Moody's Records in the Bronx, New York. Um, Moody was a pioneer in New York City's reggae and brought so much culture and positive spotlight to the North Bronx. Mr. Moody passed away September 17, 2021 at age 70. A community member would always like to name the street where the store was originally located. Um, and this suggests the name Earl Moody's Way for 225th and White Plains Road, where the original store was located. Mr. Moody had a major impact on not only the North Bronx community, but all through New York City, the United States, the Caribbean abroad. Mr. Moody is a vinyl retail and music store that Moody opened along White Plains Road in the Bronx over 40 years ago. And it is the original store where it was also a studio, and people would travel from all over the place to come to see this store. Mr. Moody was from St. Mary's, Jamaica, and migrated to the United States in 1969, and he opened his store in 1981. And it quickly became the go-to record store in New York for Jamaican and American oldies and classics that were hard to find. Many called it the vinyl collector's gold mine. Mr. Moody's has become a tourist attraction as people near and far came to visit the store, purchase records, take photos, and be of support to his Bronx Gem, which is located in the heart of the Uptown Bronx. So, committee, those are the four pillars that we um, are going to vote on tonight. I brought them to you. Is there anyone from um, any of the people that we're going to vote on here, like Mr. Moody? I see Siobhan Moody. You're on.
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Hi, Siobhan.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Mr. Moody was your dad?
Yes, he was.
Would you like to say something about your father to the
Um,
committee?
so overall, the whole entire family would like to thank everybody for really looking and seeing all of the I'm so sorry, all of the contributions that Daddy has put forward into the community, from trying to keep some of the little ones around the area off of the streets, and basically bringing music and love and unity into that part of the Bronx. We as a family have met so many people from near and far, from Japan, from Russia, from Germany, from all over the place, that have come and really just sat down and just spoke with our father and spoke about how much he was so knowledgeable about the Bronx and about Jamaica, and wanting to bring the community together and unify everything that's happening. So I would like to say that, he was a great man, and he was for the people. He wasn't just for us, his children. He was for everybody, and he was for everyone that would come from near and far, and especially from the ones in the community that would come and support him, just and pour love into him, and he would pour love back into them as well. And I would like for some of my other siblings to speak up as well. Daniel, if you have anything to say as well too about Daddy.
Hi, this is Natasha. This is one of Moody's daughters. Um, I'd like to say that music was his life, literally up until the day that he passed, and he loved to spread the gospel of music in the community. Um, he also afforded a lot of jobs, a lot of career opportunities, whether it's internships or just regular employment. We had quite a few folks that had their first job out of Moody's Records, whether it was on 225th Street or when he expanded to Boston Road, Jam City, in addition to recording artists. So there was quite a few recording artists that visited the store, did sign-ins, and a lot of folks in our community would have never been able to meet some of these artists if Mr. Moody did not have the record store and put those events in place for them. It was definitely a huge loss to the community. He was definitely well loved. His motto was "Music is life," and I'm sure that everyone knows, with mental health on the rise, that music is one of the things that kind of keeps people calm and allows people to express themselves in different ways, and that's what Mr. Moody stood for. He loved his community. There was never a person that would come by that ever needed anything that Mr. Moody would not try to help, whether it was a connection with helping to get an apartment or somewhere to stay, a job, food, money. He always tried to help. He gave with his pocket and with his heart and his mind. He was very knowledgeable. So we just like to thank you all for considering naming one of the, so sorry, to consider naming the street after him. It was definitely an accomplishment that he did not get to live to see, but it would be nice for generations to come to see all of the um, sorry,
All right.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much. Yes.
All right. Is there anyone else from any of the other recipients, the families? All right. Committee, what's your pleasure?
I make a motion.
Okay.
Seconded, seconded, Norbert.
And I just want to say to the Moody family, I did not know your dad personally, but I used to come from the South Bronx all the way up to the Northeast Bronx to buy dance hall CDs, so to play in our parties. So I mean, I know, he was a beautiful looking dude too. Let me tell you, with those green eyes. And again, I mean, he was a staple in the Northeast Bronx, prior to him moving to the new location. And this will be an honor, especially now with the 50 years of hip hop, being celebrated. This will be an honor for us to, vote for this. Thank you, guys.
I myself, Mr. Chairman, want to say something too, please.
Okay, Mr. Norbert.
Okay, I want to say to the Moody family that I used to take your dad from Coop City to 225th Street. Then afterward, when he get sick, I used to take him to Montefiore Hospital. So we used to have a very good chat. I used to bring back something from Jamaica for him. When him tell me about his problem. So I support it 100%. Thank you.
All right.
John,
Yes, yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes, call.
every one of these nominees are more than worth the honor
Yes.
of having a street named after them.
Yep.
And I want to tell you, Ellie Mae Calhoun was a miraculous woman that I knew personally.
Yeah.
And the credit union was not Bayfish, it was Fish Bay.
Yes.
Okay, but every one of these people deserve for what they did
Okay.
to make this community a better place.
So the motion was made and approved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, so, so moved. Thank you, guys.
Hello?
Aye.
Aye. Someone have a raise hand cue?
I think
Okay.
somebody was trying to speak. I don't know.
All right, we're gonna move on. Where's the gentleman with the Alfredo? Where's the gentleman that you had on before? He left.
Christian,
Christian Martinez.
or Mr. Pena.
Yeah, we're here. We're here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you guys got you got a couple of just express your concerns.
Okay.
Yeah, well, our concern is about we live, like I said, on Givman Avenue. That's between Eastchester Road and Kings Lane. And our concern is that about there's some young guys like racing over here, racing cars. And we got so many kids coming out of school, going to school, elderly people, and there's no time. It could be late night, early in the morning. We go out to work like around 3 o'clock in the morning, and you see guys flying here. They don't stop at all. 70. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
70, 75. So our concern is we could get some stop signs, or well, you said about the speed bumps. It's gonna be
Mr.
impossible for that.
Mr. Pena, that's not gonna help because
Okay.
it's happening all over. I've been complaining. I had
Mhm.
47 precinct over here in my block because I live on Murdoch,
Right.
and we got cops that live on this block, and they come through here, like my whole house shakes when they come through this block.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Shantu Grant,
Yeah, hello.
yes.
Good afternoon. So the bike lanes is it's not good. I actually got hit by, but it wasn't a bicycle. I got hit by a bike yesterday. I'm actually in urgent care now. My whole right side is bruised and I got cut up. I didn't take the guy's information because at the time, as much as I got hit very bad, I didn't feel anything. So by the time I started walking away, that's when I felt everything. So I didn't get any information from the guy, but it was a bike that hit me, not a bicycle in the bike lane.
What kind of bike? Like a motorcycle?
Yes. It's probably less than a motorcycle, but it was a heavy. It wasn't the ones that just scroll. If you see my body, you'll see that it's not a regular bike.
Okay, so you get hit by a large bike.
Yeah,
Cut.
in the bike lane. I was trying to go on the sidewalk, and by the time I should cross to the sidewalk, I saw him. But by the time I saw him, I was on the ground
Wow. You know,
because he was speeding.
he's shown that's abuse. He's essentially was abusing the lanes and stuff like that, making it unsafe.
Ms.
Yeah, and he
Grant,
said to me that we need to look where we're going.
Ms. Grant, can you give the location if you don't mind to the chair?
229 and 228. I was coming from the post office. 229 and 228 on White Plains Road, on the uptown side, going towards 241st. It was on that side
Wow.
of the street.
All right. Great. I'm making a note of it.
Okay. I'm gonna go to the police station after I'm finished with the urgent care.
Okay. Hope you feel better. I'm sorry about
Thank,
that.
thank you.
Luke,
I was wondering the location of the speeding that the resident first.
Givens and Kingsland.
Okay, one thing that I thought of is that we could make a request uh, to the city and state to put a speed camera in, and that can be another, in addition to some of these other measures that we can support, we can also ask for a speed camera.
Look, they actually put one on my block for like a week, and then they took it out, and then they put it on 233rd Street, and it don't that stuff don't really help because
So
they know where they are, and even if you use programs like or apps like Waze, it shows up on Waze where they're located. So these guys know exactly where these things are. And it's the people that live in this neighborhood that's doing it. It's not foreigners that's coming here and people from Queens or whatever. It's people that live in this neighborhood and they're doing this.
I totally understand. And one thing is that, we don't have to have a finite supply of these cameras. We don't have to be removing them from one area to another. We can actually advocate for them to put out more. And so that, there are more areas that are protected. And this actually has a very statistical uh, way of reducing speeding. They've done a study that speed cameras have actually reduced the speeds by 70%, speeding by 70% in areas where it's deployed. So we don't necessarily have to be, fighting for scraps. We can advocate and we can say, hey, no, you guys need to put these in near schools. You need to put these where people are walking because we need to enforce, illegally tinted plate covers because we deserve it and we can't stand for people speeding through our neighborhoods and putting our lives at risk. So I think we should support this. We should ask for more speed cameras at this location that the gentleman requested.
Yeah. I mean, some of these guys they're driving around with illegal plates on their cars, all that stuff. I mean, since the pandemic, it's been like it's just been so lawless out there. All these bikes on the street, the dirt bikes and the four-wheelers and all this stuff, I don't know. I don't know what we could do.
Well, the first thing we can do is write letters and show that we're looking at this and that we have a voice and that we will not stand for this because this is behavior that, as we've heard, actually hurts people. And whether or not they listen, we can come together and write letters, write resolutions, and say, hey, we need more resources, we need more enforcement of plate covers, of illegal bikes that are on the street, uh, things that we know make people safe. And so whether or not they're going to listen to it, we can rise up and we can have a voice and we can speak these things that we agree on, because it's a shame and we can't let this keep on going.
Yeah, I know. All right. Joey and then Mary.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, yes,
Go ahead,
Brother
Mary. You
Norbert.
go first.
You go ahead, Joey.
No,
Norbert,
Mary goes.
I'm gonna get to you, Norbert. Joey.
We're having a lot of issues with these bike lanes with deliveries and stuff like that. Our deliveries are actually causing problems, and it's dangerous. I mean, like the woman that said she got hit by a bike, we're having the same issue where we have to go across the street with heavy glass and heavy material and stuff like that, and they don't stop. Half of the bikes are riding in the wrong direction and stuff like that.
It's the two directional.
I'm sorry?
It's two ways.
The bike lanes?
The bike lanes aren't two ways. It says one way on it.
What goes up must come down.
All right, we'll check it out, Carl, and see what's going on, whether it's two-way or one-way. Mary?
Yes. I assume you all saw the News 12 piece about the bike lanes on White Plains Road and how much we hate them on White Plains Road. Like the news reporter was like, I can't believe like everyone hates these bike lanes. And in fact, on the piece you can access at News 12, you will see motorized vehicles in the bike lanes. And in fact, I've never seen someone pedal through one of those bike lanes in something other that's motorized. I myself was hit by a bike on a bike lane on a sidewalk. So I pointed out at your community board meeting, last full meeting, that you had said there were supposed to be no bike lanes on the sidewalk, very wisely, but were ignored by the DOT. I think that the DOT has manipulated this community board. I was looking at the proposal, and I want to read page 5 to you, the one that was presented to you last April. So on page 5, it says, in winter 2022, New York City DOT street ambassadors spoke to residents and 137 businesses about White Plains Road. Most respondents reported that they wanted more loading zones for their businesses. Okay. Obviously, everyone wants a loading zone. The thing is that we were much better, businesses were much better off before when we didn't have the loading zones, because there are only so many loading zones they can give. And it's like, now nobody can get to the curb. But that's not my point here. Okay. Second point, second bullet on this page 5. Most businesses express double parking issues are consistent along the corridor. I don't know what issues means. Like, it would have been nice if they had delineated what the issues were. It's sort of implying something negative, but whatever. So the third bullet is really interesting because it says, survey respondents express need for bike lanes due to e-scooter pilot in the areas and individuals utilizing sidewalk. Say most. So that means most is most survey respondents had expressed that they wanted the bike lanes. Most did not, but the fact they put in, by the way, I'm a professor of linguistics. So I teach this stuff. And the third bullet, because it's on a page where it's promoting bike lanes and saying most this, most that, on a document promoting the bike lanes, I think the assumption was that the survey respondents did express need for bike lanes, but how many? Out of 137 businesses and residents. So I'm sure that it was not most, it was not half. I don't know how many expressed a need, but it was not the majority, as you were led to believe in this document. We have also heard that the bike lane lobby with the Department of Transportation, and I don't know who else, is planting basically people who are with the bike lane lobby on community boards. They move into communities. They get right away on the community board within a few months of moving in and push through the bike lane agenda. So I would wish that you would be mindful of this. And then finally, I don't know if you saw in the Bronx Times had an op-ed piece last month, and it was authored by the chair of Community Board 10 and the district manager of Community Board 10. And the piece is entitled, New York City DOT works against the best interests of our community. So I ask that Community Board 12 stand up for our community, just like Community Board 10 is standing up for its community. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Okay. Ursula? George?
Hi, no, it's me. I got to say something about the bike lanes.
Okay.
I understand everybody's frustration with the bike lanes. Trust me, I do. I see it every day with the double parking, the angle parking. But guys, Community Board 12 is advisory. The only way the bike lanes would go away is if the mayor said, or the commissioner of DOT said, that's it. Bike lanes now are currently moving from Board 12 going into Board 11. They're up next. I think it's like they promised like 500,000 miles or whatever it was. This is what New York City Council, your New York City Council representative voted for this.
Yeah.
Community Board 12 said, yeah, we'll support you on what DOT presented to us. But Community Board 12 is just advisory. It's not us, guys. If you don't want the bike lanes, you have to talk to your council representative, to the DOT commissioner in the Bronx. Right now, I don't know who it is. And you have to talk to the main commissioner, Adonis. That's who you should, you can, yes, come and vent to us, but I'm telling you, those are the ones that's gonna make the decision. To do away with bike lanes, your council representative gonna have to get the other council representative to come together and change the law. That's the only way you're gonna do away with bike lanes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, so I have a question.
Hold on one second. Hold on. Who's that?
Hi, my name is Shantae Johnson. I am a part of the community.
Yeah, hold on one second, Shante. We had a couple of people that had their hands up before you.
Sure.
I'm gonna call your name in a few seconds, okay? Alfredo, and then our chairperson, Beatrice Coronel, has something to say. Alfredo?
Yes, I just want to to Miss Mary. I don't know if I was probably misunderstood what you said in regards to when you said that people are being appointed to the community board to approve or vote on some of these agendas. That's kind of offensive to us. Now, I'm saying for a couple of reasons. I've been on this particular board for over 15 years. And some of my colleagues that I serve with have been also on the board for over 15 years. So I don't know if you're referring to a particular person, but when you say stuff like that, it is not nice and it's not fair to us. Now, I don't know in other community boards if people are being paid to, to do what you're saying. Not this community board. We don't play that. We have people that live here, work here, and reside here, and are very passionate about this community. So when you come and say stuff like that, you think that people are being put on community boards, that's not nice. All right. So just be mindful that we are volunteers. All right. I've been volunteering for the community board for 15 years. I've never seen some of you guys on here until now. All right. So just please be mindful. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's okay to speak your mind, but you got to also understand that we also human, we family people, and we're not here to waste our time or be insulted by saying that some of us are being put here to to help people's agendas. Miss Ursula said it properly. If y'all have an issue with these bike lanes, whether it's in the community board 12, 10, 11, anywhere in New York City, y'all have to get the elected officials that represent this area to tell the mayor to remove them. We cannot say nothing. We do not have that authority. But one thing we could say is that we need to be respected as volunteers of a board that nobody else volunteers for but us. All right. So please, thank you very much. You don't have to respond, please. There's no need for you to respond. There's other people that want to speak. Thank you.
bitch.
I'm talking about people who were
No,
appointed
ma'am,
recently, not you guys.
ma'am, it's fine. You said what you had to say. I said what I had to say.
Beatrice,
Other people that need to speak. Thanks.
all right, Beatrice. After Beatrice, we have something else on the agenda that I need to take care of. So
Thank you, John. Mary, again, I think this is your third time belittling us. You're a linguistics professor. You're using your words to manipulate others, basically. And until when? We've already spoken about this. We're just an advisory board. We need the masses to move whatever's on our agenda. And so once again, where have you been before these 3 meetings? You don't even understand. I want to ask you, do you understand what is on our plate as a board? Aside from what's happening with these bus lanes, what are the other issues that you think are prevailing within our community?
If I'm allowed to speak,
I'm asking you, what are the
Okay.
other issues aside from the bike lanes
issues
that
there are issues, for example, at the community board meeting I was at last, there was a huge issue about cell phone towers. There are issues
okay,
about
what is
toxic
happening with
waste.
our schools?
I'm sure that you're looking for, possibly more funding. There's lots going on, but people
There
are
is, and
losing
you're
their
focusing on
jobs
one
and their
thing. As a
businesses.
board, there are many issues that we're trying to bring to the table. And so we're asking that if you're genuinely interested in this district's needs, you probably inform yourself with what's happening and what our role is. We don't have that much power. Mr. Carl Stricker mentioned this before. Every time there is a charter rule that's changed, we're less we're less empowered with what we can do. And so you have to inform yourself, because now it's almost like you're speaking without full knowledge of what's happening with this district. So I
I know
ask you to
that you
go
need
inform
research.
yourself. It's 3 meetings now that we've spent an enormous amount of time discussing this issue that were you there in the walkthrough when the commissioner was there?
I didn't know about the walkthrough. I'm sorry about that. But, I just, so you just want us to go away?
No, we
You
don't
know,
want it to go away. We're trying to troubleshoot, but we need you all. When the commissioner was there, when the council members were there, that was the time for you to voice. Right? Mr. Q said he was going to bring in about 1,000. He had a petition, and unfortunately, he only had about 30 of those petitioners that showed up. So it shows that this is a problem across the board where people are not showing up when they can.
It's not only, I haven't only
Thank you,
spoken to
John.
you,
That
we've
was it.
spoken to the mayor and to the public advocate about what's been going on.
We gotta move on, Mary. Thanks, Beatrice. Okay, the New York City.
Hey, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Q. We're
My
not
hand
gonna do
was
no more bike
raised.
lanes.
My
We're not
hand
gonna do
was
no
raised
more.
very patiently. I'm not talking about bike. My hand was raised very patiently, and I think it's extremely disrespectful that I kept
I'm
quiet and
gonna
let
come back,
everyone
Q. I'm
speak,
gonna come
and
back
then I'm just
because
getting glossed over.
I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to you, Q. All right. The New York City budget lawmakers included a provision that pilots a free bus program which makes one bus route free per borough for a period of 6 to 12 months. Um, the legislation requires the MTA to choose which routes will be free within 2 months of the budget being passed. And so Luke brought this to my attention. I actually saw it when Ursula sent it out to us. Is there any suggestions about which route we think should be? All right, Luke.
Hey, thanks so much for taking this up. So, yeah, as John mentioned, the state budget passed a provision that allows for one free bus per borough. So, right now, since the budget passed a couple weeks ago, the MTA is going to announce within 2 months which bus lines per borough will become free for this pilot project. So the MTA is looking at bus routes that don't share a road with another bus route, so they're kind of like on their own. This way, a free bus won't take, a money-making bus ridership from that other bus. So there are a lot of different buses across the city, but in our district, there's one that kind of stands out to me, and I think it might be a great opportunity to get some resources, especially money-saving resources to constituents in the district. So I suggested the BX8, which runs down Bronxwood. It has a path that is unlike any other bus in the Bronx. It connects the 2 train, the 5 train, the 6 train, and it goes all the way down to the waterfront to Throg's Neck. So of all of the buses in the district, I've got a couple other maps on here, and I'm happy to pull them up if anybody would like to look at them. But I was wondering if the community board would consider, the committee would consider writing a letter of support for the BX8 as a potential pilot option to explore.
Actually, that's a good choice, Luke.
Thanks, Earl.
It's the one unique route that doesn't have any interference with any other buses in the area.
Along Westchester Avenue goes with the 24, but only for a short distance.
That's right. And, you know, obviously, one thing is I'm really interested in just talking about this and kind of like seeing what other people think. So even though I'm coming at this with the BX8, I can share the screen and we can kind of look at this together if that's okay, because it's kind of interesting to think about what buses people might be interested in making free. So we've got the 31 here, which runs a unique route that doesn't share with anybody. We got a 16 that goes along the northern corridor, and we got the BX8 here.
And
So
the BX16 shares a lot with the 34.
yeah, right down here.
Call,
In Norwood,
you're in
area.
favor. You're in favor of this call.
I'm in favor of the BX8
Okay, beautiful.
because that is a great choice.
Okay.
Because when I reviewed the routes in the Bronx, which I know inside and out, the 8 was the first one to pop up in my mind. The second one was the BX24, which don't serve that many people. This goes from Hutch Metro to Country Club. The 8 serves a good core of the borough.
Okay. All right. Does it link to any of the hospitals or anything like that?
Oh yeah,
Jacoby.
it
Okay,
interchange. Well, it goes along Williamsburg Road. It goes when it gets to Eastchester Road. You get all the Montefiore clinics and stuff there. So it does serve a lot of clinics from Montefiore that are on Eastchester Road, within 2 blocks of Williamsbridge Road.
Okay, great. All right. Transportation Committee, what's your pleasure with this? Could I get a motion?
I would take Luke up on his motion to recommend the BX8. I will make the motion that we recommend the BX8 be the free route.
Can I get a second?
This is Carla. I second that.
It gotta be a committee member caller. The on the transportation.
Oh, a committee member. Sorry. I'm just saying on.
Can I get a second?
All your committee members, I don't see them.
Yeah, no, they're here. Luke, Norbert.
I'll second that. This is Luke.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So it's been properly moved and second. We will write a letter to the MTA and suggest that bus number 8 be our choice in the Northeast Bronx. All right.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, well,
that's a good one.
Luke, you do come up with some good stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Ms. Benitez? Ms. Benitez? All right.
Mistake. Sorry. No, I agree with what you all did. No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, great. Is Q still on?
Yes, Q's still on.
Hey, Q.
How's it going, Mr. Isaac? Hope all is
Yeah,
well.
I'm sorry I couldn't take you at that
No
time
worries.
because there was some business. When we have these meetings, there's some business that we must attend to, and these are the things that we had in our agenda to take care of.
Absolutely.
So I was trying to.
Completely understand.
All right.
No worries. No worries. I completely understand. I just wanted to give a shout out to the 4 people, the staples of the community that are going to have these streets named after them. They all had a underlying message of unity and understanding and doing what's best for the community. To reference some of the things that were said, I've had a face-to-face conversation with Commissioner Rodriguez. I also saw the piece on the Bronx 12, and I understand that everyone is saying that community board is only advisory, but what the commissioner is saying in DOT's response was that the community asked for this. This is what's happening now. Like, we're pushing this thing up the chain. We're having our people in our community get mowed down by these motorbikes. We're having response times from the FDNY. The FDNY said they literally came to Community Board 12 and told you guys not to do this. I have it on video. They wrote a letter to the Department of Transportation saying that it wasn't a good area. And now, God forbid, if any fatality happens, the DOT's hands are clean. I spoke with the commissioner face to face, Adonis Rodriguez. I told him what was going on. I literally showed it to him, and he said the community asked for this. Bronx 12 did the piece. The community asked for this. The Bronx Times op-ed piece. They couldn't say the community asked for it because BX10 pushed back. So we can't say that it's only advisory and then we complain to who we're supposed to complain to. We get the petitions, we show up, we speak, and then they turn around and literally say it's the community. So now what we need to understand, because I appreciate everyone taking their times. You guys are volunteers. I wish I had the time to volunteer because I'm kind of jealous of you guys. But at the same time, we need a singular voice and we need it documented on where the community board stands on these issues. God forbid if something happens in the future, it's called CYA. You guys covered your behinds. Because if anything happens now, God forbid, if a building on 222nd and White Plains Road gets caught on fire and there are fatalities, the Department of Transportation is going to turn around and blame the community board because they're literally doing it. Oh, the community asked for this. Our hands are clean. We're just doing what the community asked. So, we need to take that into consideration. I don't think you guys are, I hope you guys are not telling us to go away, and we're going to keep trying to do what's best. But at the same time, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I am a practical person. I've been in the community. I've volunteered at so many different levels. I've given money to so many different initiatives. And when something makes sense, I'm for it. Last call, Luke mentioned Boston Road. Was it Boston Road and Gun Hill Road? That's a dangerous intersection. I want something done about that. This call, a few calls ago, people used to complain to me about the islands on White Plains Road. I said, absolutely not. Those cannot leave because of the crazy drivers we have in this community. So me being an educated person, me being a practical person, if I'm telling you this is something that's hurting and killing the community, I would hope that, the community board could look into it and we could have something on record. Because if we don't, it's going to fall back on the community board. And that's what the Department of Transportation is already doing. Thank you for my time. I appreciate it.
Hello, good evening. My name is Carl, and I'm a business owner on
John,
Gordon
can
Road.
I
Call.
John?
There are other people with their hands raised. I'm acknowledging you, but there's someone else before you.
All right, let me know when it's my turn.
I just want to answer
Yeah,
Q. I just want to answer Q.
hold on one second. Tolene was first, and then I'm gonna come to you guys. Call
Okay.
and call T. Hold on one second. Tolene.
Yes, good evening. I'm as you all know, and those that don't know, I am a retired educator, and I'm somewhat confused with the way Q is explaining everything. Q, to me, you keep saying it is the community, Or are you saying it is the community board? Please help me to understand what you're saying. You're in one
when
thing.
the
Let me
commissioner.
finish.
Oh,
Let
I'm
me
sorry.
finish, please. What I'm saying is I need you to, you're saying community, it's the community board, it's going to be the community board's fault, it's going to be the community. Is it the community board you're talking about, or is it the community that you are a part of? Now I'm finished. Thank you.
Okay, I apologize. I'm a part of the community. It's going to be the fault of the community boards because what the commissioner and other people are untruthfully doing now, once there's any type of blowback, they can go and literally illustrate and say when they reference the community asked for this, they're essentially referring to the community board, stating this is what the people of the community want. When in actuality it isn't. This is what they voted on. This is what they agreed upon. This is what they approved. This is what they supported. So that's their thing now. God forbid if something happens, they're gonna that's what they're using in their back pocket, And I feel that that's unfair because number one, you guys are only volunteers. You guys are volunteers. You guys are trying your best. There are a million things going on in this community. Bro, Uptown Bronx 12 is crazy. The amount of things that happen, the amount of things I see on a day-to-day basis. So, I mean, this is not putting, anything negative. I understand you guys are upset because you're hearing it from multiple ends. How are you guys coming back and talking about something after you already approved it? It's a lot. And I understand it's completely stressful. But at the same time, as a member of the community, I feel that the community board should get something on record on where they stand in terms of these issues. Because if something was to happen, the commissioner of DOT is going to turn around and blame the community board and say, hey, our hands are clean. This is what they requested.
Great.
Side note, community board members are members of the community as well.
Thank you.
John?
But let me say this to you. Are you speaking?
Go ahead, Tony.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, call Stricker.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to say something to Q. People in the community did want it, but the key is the community board voted in favor of it when it was presented to us because we got no opposition to it. We didn't ask for it. Community Board 12 never asked for that bike lane. But there were people in the community asking for a bike lane, and DOT chose to put it there. And I want to tell you, you talked to the commissioner, and he said, we asked for it? We never asked for it. And I want to tell you something else. He just approved another 10 miles of protected bikeways in the city.
Yeah.
And I think 6 of those miles are coming to the Bronx.
Yeah.
That's
Madam Chairwoman?
Q, were you at that meeting when we went on records with what the concerns were and the letter that we sent to them? I would recommend that you check out that video when we went on record,
I was
detailing
there.
everything that was said in the meeting before that you were part of, that we were speaking on behalf of you and the other constituents. Were you there when we went on record and wrote that letter on behalf of everybody's concerns and advocating for everybody's concerns to be addressed?
Yes, there was a
Okay,
Jesus
so but
Soto
you
there
just
and
said that
Chief
we need to go
supposed to
on
be.
record, but we have already, right? And so you're kind of like denying the work that we are doing on behalf of those. So I just want you to really pay attention to how you are projecting and kind of like acting like we aren't doing advocacy on behalf of everybody. So I just wanted to go on record saying that you were at that meeting, you were present when we delineated all of the issues that were raised, right? And we put it on record, we sent a letter to the DOT. Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Call T.
Hi, sorry, excuse me. I've been
Yes.
waiting for some time now to say something in
Who's
reference
this?
to the whole bike lane within the community.
Who is this?
My name is Shante Johnson. I'm part of the community.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, I'm gonna have you right after Call was next, and then you're next. Okay.
Sure, thanks.
Okay, Carl T.
Okay, so again, my name is Carl Thompson, and I'm a small business owner in the community. I'm really new to this. I was informed of the bike lane recently, and I was asked to join this meeting. So I would like to have, someone explain to me what exactly this, is going to be. And then, I'll respond to how do I think it's going to affect my and other businesses in the area. Based on what I've seen in other areas, bike lane, adversely affect businesses, especially business that, rely on, you know, customers that park in the area. If this happens, then, it's as good as me closing my business, because there would be, no parking for customers coming to my location. So, could someone just explain this to me, since I'm, new to this?
What would you like us to explain?
Um, the bike lane. Okay, so, was there a study done? Was members of the community informed of it? I personally wasn't. And if there's going to be a bike lane up and down Gun Hill Road, how is it that the majority of the businesses have no knowledge of this?
There is no bike lane for Gun Hill Road.
Okay, there's no. Okay, so what
We're not
what what
putting any
sort
bike
what
lanes.
sort of
We're
what,
not putting any bike lanes on Gun Hill Road.
okay, so what sort of changes are there going to be on the bus route on Gun Hill Road?
There's gonna be an express bus lane.
Oh, express bus lane,
That's it. You
which
you ever
And
you ever driven in Brooklyn or in Queens and see that burgundy lane where it's just for buses?
okay, but
It's
this is just as bad as the bike lane, because
no,
which
no,
means that
no,
if
it's not. No, it's not.
so, will there be parking side?
your
It's
parking
gonna
will stay.
the parking is gonna stay. There's a two-lane traffic. One lane is gonna be for the buses, and one
Mhm.
lane is gonna be for the cars. So whoever told you that you're gonna lose parking and all that stuff, they're wrong. They need to come back. Well, DOT is gonna come back and present for us and make sure you're at the meeting. You'll see there's no changes.
Okay, so you're telling me for sure that I won't lose
You're not gonna lose any parking unless it's
parking.
at a corner where they're gonna narrow the intersections where they do something called bulb outs where the
Mhm.
intersection is narrower so that it's easier for pedestrians to cross. That's it.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks for the info.
Yeah.
Carl, I can also add a copy of the presentation, which is available online. I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah. Joey, I'll get to you in a second. Rennie.
Hi, it's Renee.
Excuse me, can I
It's
now? I'm
Renee.
sorry, you told me this gentleman it was me,
Okay.
and I've been patient.
There's no name up for you. You could go ahead. I
So I'm
acknowledge it.
calling in on my phone, so I apologize for that in advance. That's why I can't raise my hand. That's why you keep bypassing me. But I had a few things to speak about in reference to not only the bike lane, but the bus lane that is coming to Gun Hill Road. Number one, I believe earlier my friend did let you guys know that she was mowed down by a motorized bicycle in the bike lanes. The bike lanes are not being utilized for what they're supposed to be utilized for, which is bicycles. It's supposed to be a safety zones for bicycle riders. That's not what they're being utilized for.
Agreed.
Now, as a person of the community, as a nurse of the community that not only works for Montefiore Hospital, I work for Westchester Medical Center, I work for a bunch of hospitals and do independent education with patients within the community. I have reached out to the Department of Transportation. I have emailed, I have wrote letters, I have reached out to Mayor Ruben Diaz's office, no response. I have reached out to our Bronx Borough President, no response. I've even reached out to the old deputy of the 47th precinct, Rule Stevenson, because when he was there was a lot being done and the community was more involved. And I'm not getting answers from anyone in reference to this. I have children in the community, and our children are being hurt by these bike lanes. Now, I'm not trying to say I oppose to it, but it needs to be safe. There needs to be something happening when these motorized bicycles are in the improper lane. They need to be in the road. No one is addressing that. I kind of just want us to come together and see who we can target, who we can meet with, who we can actually speak with. How do we get answers to have these things corrected instead of just saying it's this person, that person, that person. And then when we go to these people, it's a ping pong. That's the effect that I'm getting. I'm being hit back and forth because no one wants to take accountability about what's happening within this community. And it's not fair to me. It's not fair to my children. It's not fair to my friends. It's not fair to you guys. Everyone is jumping down your throat. I hear it. I've been on here. I'm hearing it. But how do we get these matters addressed the correct way? Who do we speak to? Who do we target? Because obviously us just doing votes and letters, it's not working. So who else can I reach out to? Should I get in contact with Channel 12, Channel 11, Channel 9, Channel 5? Should I get in contact with the news channels to let them know that, hey, this is what's happening in the community? I need you guys to write about this. How do we get people and hold them accountable for their actions? Because an Uber driver has no insurance. An Uber motorist driver has no insurance. So when people is ending up with broken legs and broken arms and damages to their veins and head injuries, who's being held accountable? Because DOT said it's not them. That's a major issue to me. And in terms of the bus lanes on Gun Hill Road, I'm pretty sure you guys may think it's a good idea, but our community is poor. We're not the richest community. A bus lane coming to Gun Hill Road, I don't think it's going to help us. It's going to make matters worse.
No,
Bus
it's not.
lanes come with cameras. It will. When you think of the finances of the community, the people that are here, we are struggling. In Manhattan, they're putting up bus lanes with cameras.
Yeah, they're
They
doing
can
that
drive
because
to the
people,
bus.
you know why? Because people, again, being lawless, the ride in the bike lane, I mean, in the bus lanes when they're not supposed to. They're abusing
Right, I'm
the bus
aware
lane.
of that situation, but at the end of the day, if someone needs to get around traffic or move around, not necessarily ride in the bus lane, and you're putting up cameras, there's thousands of cameras in this community already. Basically, you're telling people in the community that we shouldn't drive, that it's best for us to walk or take public
The
transportation.
thing is, either you want to be, listen, if the people in the community are not paying attention to the rules and regulations, right? People are flying up and down, driving 70 miles an hour in 25-mile-an-hour zones, doing all kind of crazy stuff. They have to put in cameras. Is either you want us to put in cameras or you don't want it to be, you want the place to be lawless. What
Right.
do you want?
So safety cameras in terms of regulating the speed, in terms of schools, yes, that is okay. But
It's the same
additional
thing
bus
as for
lanes,
the
traffic
same thing
on
as
Gun
for
Hill
the
Road is
same thing as for
terrible.
the same thing is gonna go with the bus lanes.
The
Hey, John,
bus
can I
lane
just
is
add
a bad
something to
idea. It takes from 228th Street to get to Gun Hill Road just to Montefiore Hospital. In the morning time, it already takes me 25 to 30 minutes.
And then the
That
bus
makes no sense.
and the bus, it takes a bus call could and look, it takes about an hour for the bus to get from Home Depot to Montefiore.
can I just add something there, John? Based on my understanding, my knowledge of Gun Hill Road, I've been living in the area for many years. I see the bottleneck on Gun Hill Road, not so much from Home Depot or from from uh Co-op City to White Plains Road. But I think the bottleneck is where the Bronx River Road exchange. And I think
They're working on that part right now. But
right.
I was on Fish Avenue at 11 o'clock yesterday. What they're gonna be doing is you see the lane where people have are double parked? That's that we're not even driving in because the cars are double parked. That's the lane they're gonna be taking.
Right, and I do understand that. So, back to my point, I don't think that, the traffic is really it's only between White Plains Road and the Bronx River Exchange. So I think that having a bus lane is really to alleviate traffic. And I personally don't see any massive amount of traffic between Co-op City and White Plains Road, on any given day.
There is a lot of it.
Around 45,000 people.
Yep.
And do you think that having the bus lane,
it will help? It will help the buses
it
move
may help the
faster.
bus, but look at how it's going to hurt other businesses.
No,
Other
people.
communities,
It's
not
going to
just the
help
business,
circulate.
other
It's
communities.
going to help circulate traffic because you got 45,000 people that are sick and tired of having buses that are so slow that it's faster to walk through this. But this isn't just about fixing bus speeds for people who can't afford to buy a car. This is about uh, having access to the hospital for our ambulances. I was riding on Gun Hill Road today because I take it every day, and there's just such a bottleneck of traffic that this ambulance was stuck right in front, like a couple blocks from the hospital. And it's so sad because this happens all the time, and I see this all the time. And this is why there's stakeholders in the community, Montefiore Hospital, who are championing this bus lane because not only is it going to improve the quality of life for people who are currently taking the BX28, but it's going to improve the quality of life for people riding the ambulances and trying to get to Montefiore for life-saving care. So this is why we need this, and this has been on the MTA's radar for years. Every single board meeting that the MTA has, they say, this is our priority. This is our priority. We need equitable investment in the Bronx, in public transportation infrastructure, and this is what they have to deliver. So this is not a surprise, and it's a real resource that we're going to be able to rely on, assuming that it comes with enforcement so that our buses can be insured to move fast, that the NYPD is cracking down on people who have tinted license plates that can't be read by cameras. So this needs to be paired with proper enforcement mechanisms, but it's really going to improve the lives of a lot of people who use these bus lanes.
But I'm only
And don't
hearing
forget
about
the bus lanes are open to all emergency vehicles. If it facilitates fire trucks, ambulances, and police vehicles to get to a place a lot faster than be caught in traffic.
And what about your nurses and your doctors and your surgeons and your anesthesiologists?
Yeah, it's going to be good for them too, because then they can get to the hospitals with reliable public transit. This is
So
something
so in order for me to
that's
get to
way
work,
better than
I'm
the jammed
told.
up intersections we have now.
So
Seriously,
in order
you
for
go
me
down,
to get
you
to
can
work,
walk
if I'm
faster than
called to
all the
come in
traffic
because
on Gun
someone
Hill Road.
can't come in, I have to.
We cannot
I have
hear
to get on bus.
everybody speaking at the same time. You have to let him speak, and
So
then
my
you can
question
speak.
is, in order for me to get to work as a nurse, as a part of the surgical team, I have to get on the bus. That's basically what you're telling me. I can't drive my vehicle to work and park in the parking lot that I'm paying for because
So if
it's best for me to
you'll
take public
see in
transportation.
that link that I sent you, there are other options. And what the DOT has found is that there'll be different ways people will accommodate this bus lane. Some people will find a new route. And yeah, it's annoying. It's challenging that you might want to or choose to take a new route. But a lot of people, and when you look at the numbers, a lot of people are going to be relying on these bus routes. So I understand that you're dependent on your car to take this, but there's a overwhelming amount of people who are dependent on public transit, and they need reliable public transit because we don't deliver the public transit that Bronxites deserve. And that's what this project's about. It's giving reliable transportation, and it's an improvement in an investment in services. So that's why we desperately need this.
And it definitely helps lower income
We got,
people.
we got one more. Got a couple of hands raised. Renee, is it Renee?
Renee.
Renee?
Mike, I asked in a chat about when these meetings are held and how the information got out. This is my first. I've lived in this community for over 30 years, and this is my first time attending these meetings or hearing about these meetings. So I'm just interested in finding out how we talk a lot here about the community, and their voting and their input. But I am in this community, and I'm completely in the dark about half of these events and these things that are happening. So I'm just curious as how are we sharing with the community about getting them to these meetings?
Well, you got to go online. Ursula, is she on?